My name is Josh Snowden. I'm the head S&C coach at Bengaluru FC. I'm from England. I've done a Bachelor's in Sports Science at Leeds Beckett University. I've also done a Master's in Sports Science at Leeds Beckett University, and I'm currently doing my PhD there at the moment. In England, I've worked at clubs like Leeds United and Huddersfield Town. During a game, depending on position, players can cover between 9 to 12 kilometres. This is also sort of coupled with hundreds of high-speed meters. There's then also hundreds of extremely intense actions like accelerations, decelerations, change of directions and jumping that's all intersped within the game. Alongside this, players are expected to do these sort of maximal actions in the dying minutes of a game. So if you're chasing a game, you want it to get that win, players will have to do 100-metre sprints up the pitch to try and get in the box to get that last-minute winner. And then on the flip side, if you're 1-0 up, players will have to be tracking runners back to make sure that they don't concede in the dying minutes. So players can be extremely fatigued from games, and then also during busy fixtures, congestion periods, players will also be expected to sort of do these actions again in 48 hours with minimal rest in between. So the ISL is quite unique, so there's a few challenges that we face. If we're lucky to have 7 days between games, after a game we'll use those 2 days post-game as sort of a recovery. There won't be much training done on these days. The players might have 1 day off, depending on whether we're flying back or we're playing at home. After these 2 recovery days, in an ideal world, the players are fit, fresh, ready to go for training. We'll have 2 hard training sessions, coupled with gym sessions. We'll have 2 days where we'll work on the players' fitness, their power, their strength, and their speed. And then after these 2 training days, we'll sort of have a 2-day taper. We'll try and get those players back down to feeling fresh. They might have a bit of fatigue from these 2 training days. So we'll have a 2-day taper to make sure that they're in the best possible position for the next match day. So the current guidelines for optimal recovery, they say that you should get your ice bath about 10 to 15 degrees, and then your immersion time should be again about 10 to 15 minutes. And ideally, if your ice bath is 10 degrees, you'll go in for 10 minutes, and then if your ice bath is around 12 degrees, you'll go in for 12 minutes, all the way up to 15 minutes. Obviously, if you struggle to withstand that temperature for so long, still going in for a shorter duration will have its benefits, but it may not be optimal. Ideally, we go for 10. Feel after the hard training sessions, after the games, we'll go for 10 degrees, and we try and get the players to go in for 10. There's some that maybe struggle to withstand it for so long, so they may only go for a shorter duration, but they're still getting the benefits. So earlier in the season, our biggest challenge was purely logistical. Sometimes when we're travelling to games like Northeast that are a 3-hour flight away, and we travel to these games 2 days before the game, and we're doing 2 days of training over there. Sometimes obviously we'll want to incorporate the ice baths. Training at different facilities, they may not have the capability to provide the ice bath for 20 players post training, which was a problem for us. And then also post games, when we're staying another night in the Northeast, we want to provide the players with the ice bath so they're recovering well for the next game. And depending on the ground we were playing at or the training pitch that we were at, this may not have been feasible. So the beauty of the ice baths is now that we just bring it as a piece of kit along with everything else, along with the balls, the GPS, the physio beds. It's just become a piece of the kit that we now put under the flight, take with us to the games, and then we can use it all of our away games. So it's just sort of solved that biggest problem. So post game, when we might only have 48 hours or 72 hours between games, the recovery process starts immediately. This starts immediately post-game, players jumping in the ice baths. If we wait until the morning after, we run the risk of players potentially not being fully recovered for the next game. So it's crucially important that we provide this stimulus, this cold water immersion, immediately post-game to kickstart that recovery process. Alongside the ice baths, wanting to reduce that muscle damage and wanting to reduce that inflammation, we'll also look at other avenues like hydration. So in the ISL, in some of the more humid areas, players can lose between 2 and 3 kilograms of water weight. So we'll keep track of the players' weight pre-game and post-game. And this is also sort of giving the players a target of how much they need to rehydrate over the next few hours. And again, this coupled with the ice baths, with the hydration, we're making sure that players are in an optimal position for that next game in 2 days' time. So immediately getting into the ice baths, there'll be some peripheral vasoconstriction. So there'll be reduced blood flow in the extremities. So that will sort of be your feet, your legs, your hands, your arms. There'll be sort of a central pooling of blood in the midriff to protect the vital organs. Immediately after getting out of the ice bath, there'll be that vasodilation. So this will increase blood flow to the extremities. Ideally, this will be the areas that have the highest inflammation, the highest muscle damage. And then from this, there'll be more oxygen getting to the muscles. There'll also be a bit of lactate removal. Both of these physiological mechanisms sort of aid the recovery process. Yes, I think when you're working with top athletes who are at the highest level playing for the national team and have done it for as long as they have, it's not just been short stints. They've been at this level for years. I think players take notice of what they're doing, and they want to be a part of that journey. They want to reach that standard as well. So they take notice of everything that they're doing. So Sunil is making sure, and Gurpreet is making sure that they're eating appropriately after games. The players will do the same. They'll educate themselves to make sure that they're recovering well and also fueling right for the games. So I think having them around is huge for the younger players. It's a bonus. Like I touched on before, the work of a footballer is not done after your 2 days. You don't show up to training, train 9 till 11, and then that's you done for the day. You also have to be a 24-hour athlete. You have to make sure you're recovering right, so you're ready to go for the next day. And this is something that Sunil and Gurpreet do. Whether that's extra gym sessions, extra stretching sessions, making sure that they're going in the ice baths for the appropriate time after training. They'll try and maximise everything that they possibly can. So it's all those little percentages add up over the course of a 20-year career. So having them around it's great for the younger players. It's a huge bonus.